Hi, I hope you're okay today. I am going to start the lesson. Today we are going to work on asking questions in the present simple. So last week we did free time. I'm just looking at my plan. Last week we did free time, we did jobs, and we did maybe 2-3 weeks ago, we did the present simple. So this is all going to bring it together. Okay, so I'm going to show you my lesson now. Okay, I can share my screen. And this is the presentation. Here we go, let's start the slideshow. Okay, so there's a lot of work today. Quite a few little challenges. It's not always easy, but we will get through it together. Okay, let's make a start. So present simple and questions. So it's all about asking questions in the present simple and asking correct questions. It's very, very important to get the word order right when you are asking questions. Okay, let's make a start. So do you remember a few weeks ago, maybe last week, I can't really remember, I lose track of time, but we did yes sentences and no sentences in the present simple. So positive and negative sentences. I think we did that when we did free time. What do you do in your free time? And so on. Okay, so, okay. The yes sentence, I have put a green plus sign here to show you when it is a yes sentence, a positive sentence, okay? You live in Wigan, okay? Easy, your house is in Wigan, you live in Wigan. A no sentence, you don't live in Wigan, okay? Please, 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 never, ever, ever say you not live in Wigan. That is not correct. It is wrong. It is not correct, okay? What you have to say is you don't live in Wigan. Okay, so we've got our yes sentence and we've got our no sentence. And now we need to have a look at questions. So the first thing you're going to do is think about using do you. I am sure you must have heard people use do you before. So we're going to start from a yes sentence, a positive sentence. You live in Wigan. Yes. Okay, that is a positive sentence. We are going to change this sentence. We are going to change it and we're going to make a question out of it. Okay, so very, very important when you ask a question, you have to raise your voice at the end. And also, if you are writing that question, you have to put one of these beautiful question marks. Okay, so question mark, don't forget, it's very important. And then we have our same as the positive sentence, you live in Wigan. But that is not correct. That is not a correct question. You need one more thing that is very important. You need, do you live in Wigan? Okay, so this do here is so important. You mustn't forget it. You must have the do when you ask a question. Do you live in Wigan? Okay, now we're going to look at answering a question, okay? So how do you answer a question that starts with do you? Okay, so let's have a look at our question. Do you live in Wigan? Okay, you have two possible answers. If you live in Wigan, then you say, yes, I do. Okay, not, yes, I live. That is wrong. That is not correct. Okay, you have to say, yes, I do. Okay, next question. Sorry, not next question. Oh, what is going on with my computer? I'm sorry. Here we go. Back on track. So maybe you do live in Wigan, and if you live in Wigan, you say, yes, I do. Now, not everybody lives in Wigan, so maybe you don't live in Wigan, in which case you have to say, no, I don't. No, I don't. Okay? Right, so that is for nice, short answers. Okay? Okay, now, so let me just check. I just want to, okay, just checking that I am recording. Okay, sorry folks. Okay, now let's have a look at question words. Okay, so sometimes you can make questions not just with do you, but also with a question word like what, where, when, how, what time. So let's see how we are going to do this. Remember to put your question mark, please, please, please. It's really important when you are writing a question, put a question mark at the end, okay? So, do, very important. So, where do you live? Where do you live? Okay? Do not say where you live. That is not correct. You have to have, you must have the do. When you ask a question, you must have the do. Okay, where do you live? Let's have a look at a positive answer. I live in Wigan. So you notice if you have a question word, you are going to have more information. You are going to have more explanation in the answer. It's not yes or no, it's explain. Okay. Now, I wanted to have a look at the question words with you, okay, today, just to remember them. Maybe you know them, maybe you don't know them, so that's why we're going to have a look at them. So the first one is what? Oh, I've lost it. There we go. So, what is when you want to know what something is, okay? So when you don't know, what is it? What? You want to ask about something. Where is when you want to ask about a place. Excuse me. Okay, so let's start again. Here we go. Yes, so what, where, you want to ask about a place. Okay. When is when you want to ask about time or about day or a date. Okay, so when is it? Monday, Tuesday, January, March, okay, or the year, okay. Next one is what time. So what time is more specific than when, okay. What time is really asking about this, about what time of the day, okay. 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 10 o'clock, etc. So what time? And finally, how. Now, how is a little bit difficult to explain. How is when you want to ask about the way something was done, okay? Or the way something works. Okay, so I'm going to read you some examples of questions now. Okay, let's have a look. Where do you live? Where do you live? Where do you work? Where do you work? What time do you go to college? What time do you go to college? Remember to put that do there. The do is really, really important. What do you do in your free time? What do you do in your free time? How do you go to college? How do you go to college? How do you go to college? And I've put an answer here. I go to college by bus. Okay, so let me just stop it here for 1 minute. Okay, so just to summarize here, remember you have 2 types of questions, 2 different ways. Not 2 different ways, but 2 types of questions, okay? The first one is the yes/no questions, okay? So questions where the answer is yes or no, okay? It's quite narrow, it's quite specific, okay? And those questions will start with do you? Do you live in Wigan? Yes, I do. Or no, I don't. I live in London. Okay, so that's the yes/no questions, okay? Then you have open questions, okay? So open questions will require longer answers, more information, okay? More detail, more explanation. These questions start with a question word. Where, when, how, what time, what, okay? Where do you live? Well, I live in Wigan. I cannot answer this with yes or no. That would not be correct. Okay. Okay. So let's move on and see what else we have on this. Okay, so next we are going to do some practice, okay? So this is what we used to do in class, okay? So listen and make a question with the word that you hear, okay? For example, let's play this and you will understand straight away. You have to use, sorry, I forgot to say, you have to use where at the beginning of your question.
30.2. Exercise 3. 1. Live. Where do you live?
Okay, so you have to think about the answer And it would be great if you could say it to practice your pronunciation. You have to try and say it after the beep, okay? And then listen to the answer, okay?
2. Go swimming. Where do you go swimming? 3. Play tennis. Where do you play tennis? 4. Work. Where do you work? 5. Do aerobics. Where do you do aerobics? 6. Go to school. Where do you go to school? 7. Park your car. Where do you park your car? 8. Have lunch. Where do you have lunch?
Okay, so I hope you did okay on that. I will show you the answers on the next slide. So what we'll do is we will listen again and then it will appear on the slide. Okay, so let's listen again. If I can, okay. Come on, why is this not working? Sorry folks, just, here we go.
30.2. Exercise 3. 1. Live. Where do you live? 2. Go swimming.
Oh,
Where do you go swimming?
well that's not right, is it? Okay. Let's make sure we correct that. Okay, sorry about this, folks. Let's start again. Now I've corrected that mistake. It's just me going a little bit too fast when I prepare these lessons. Okay.
30.2. Exercise 3. 1. Live. Where do you live? 2. Go swimming. Where do you go swimming? 3. Play tennis. Where do you play tennis? 4. Work. Where do you work? 5. Do aerobics. Where do you do aerobics? 6. Go to school. Where do you go to school? 7. Park your car. Where do you park your car? 8. Have lunch. Where do you have lunch?
Okay, right. So now we're going to have a look at a little activity. You have to choose what the correct question is. Okay, so you're going to get 2 questions on your screen. You're going to get A and B, and you have to pick. You have to look at the answer, and then you have to choose which correct question, what the correct question is, okay? So, where do you go shopping? Or, when do you go shopping? If the answer is at the weekend, okay? Think about it. Yes, it is B. When do you go shopping? Okay, next one. So the answer here is at 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock. Okay. So is it going to be question A? What time do you have lunch? Question B. What do you have for lunch? Think about it. Oh, where is the PowerPoint gone? Sorry, folks. Here we go. Think about it. Let's have a look at the answer. Yes, it was question A. What time do you have lunch? Okay, next. Okay. I read the Times. Now, the Times is a newspaper. Okay, like, what else is a newspaper? The Observer, the Sun, the Daily Mail, the Guardian. All these are types of newspapers. Okay, so is it question A, what newspaper do you read? Or question B, when do you read a newspaper? Okay, think about it. And the answer is A. What newspaper do you read? I read the Times. Okay, next. Again, A or B. So answer is I walk. I walk. What is the correct question? What time do you go to school? Or how do you go to school? Think. And the answer is B. How do you go to school? Okay. Now the answer here, at the club. This is the answer. What is the question? When do you play tennis? Or where do you play tennis? When do you play tennis? Where do you play tennis? Think. Answer B. Where do you play tennis? At the club. Okay. The answer here is in the evenings. In the evenings. So if this is the answer, what is the question? A. What do you watch on TV? B. When do you watch TV? Think. Yeah, answer is B. When do you watch TV? In the evenings. Okay, now I would like you to pause here and complete this. I think it would be fantastic if you wrote these questions and completed this activity in your notebooks. Okay, it would be great if you could get some practice and actually write in your notebooks. Okay, because you need to practice your writing and your spelling. Okay, so pause here, write them down, and then fill the gaps. Okay, so you have to look at the question and also to understand and to finish the question, you have to look at the answer. Where? In a hospital. Where do you work? In a hospital. What? In your free time. We go swimming. Okay, so think, pause here, stop here, copy it, complete it. And here we'll move on to the next slide. And I want you to pause on the next slide as well, because there is more questions. There are more questions on the next slide. Here we go. So pause, copy, think, complete the questions. And now I am going to show you the answers. Where do you work? In a hospital.
30.3. 1. Where do you work? In a hospital. 2. What do you do in your free time? We go swimming. 3. What time do you go to work? At 8 o'clock. 4. When do you play tennis? At the weekend. 5. 30.
Okay, next slide for the last few answers.
30.3.
Whoops.
When do you play tennis? At the weekend. 5.
5 here.
Where do you do karate? At the sports center. 6. What do you have for lunch? A sandwich. 7. What do you do? I work in a factory. 8. Where do you live? In the suburbs.
Oops. Sorry, folks. The lady says in the suburbs, but I thought it was more interesting to put in the town centre. Okay, so that's not really the suburbs. If you look at the lesson that I put online on Tuesday, you've got the spelling of suburbs if you don't remember. Okay. Now, okay, here I would like you to pause and practice these questions and answers with a partner. Do them about yourself, okay? So what are these questions? Let's have a look. Where do you live? Where do you work? Or where do you go to school? What do you do in your free time? What do you eat for breakfast? What do you eat for breakfast? Yes. What newspaper do you read? When do you go shopping? And what time do you have lunch? Okay. Right, I'm going to pause here. Try and work with a partner. If you have a partner, hi again. So you have these questions on your screen that you can work on with a friend or with a partner. Okay, so I've got my husband here.
Hello.
And I am going to ask him some questions. This is Matt, by the way.
Hello.
Okay, so Matt, where do you live?
I live in Wigan.
Very good, Matt. Okay, do this every time. Where do you work?
I work in Manchester.
Excellent. What do you do in your free time?
I go running.
What do you eat for breakfast?
I drink tea and eat toast.
Okay. What newspaper do you read?
I watch the news on television.
You don't read a newspaper?
No.
He doesn't read the newspaper. Okay. When do you go shopping?
I don't.
No, you go shopping at the weekend.
I go shopping at the weekend.
He does go shopping sometimes. Okay, and what is the last question? What time do you have lunch?
At 12 o'clock.
Well, thank you very much, Matt.
You're very welcome.
Okay, see you later. Bye.
Bye.